They'll be equipped with special 16-inch alloy wheels, larger disc brakes and come with catalysts.
Unfortunately, they're not selling for 1960s prices. The cost will be £110,000 each.
It was also back in the 60s when a Mini last won its class in an international rally series.
But after a 23-year gap, this Mini Cooper S has taken the 1300cc prize in the European Historic Rally Championship. Seen here on the Pirelli Classic Marathon, the car with Jeremy Coulter and co-driver Paul Howcroft battled its way through 7 gruelling rounds, finally taking the title this week in the mountains of northern Italy.
It was back in April of this year that 19-year-old Francine Bogg from Hull won the Radio Times Rally Crest 91. She beat 16 men and 3 women to win a season's rally sponsorship and the chance to enter Britain's premier international rally, the Lombard RAC. Francine's dream come true began with a presentation by her heroine, Ladies World Rally Champion Louise Aitken-Walker.
I started when I was about 16, 17 before I passed my driving test. And my dad used to rally quite a bit, obviously, and it sort of like took me up as well with it, really. I used to watch the Lombard RAC every year, and I knew that when I passed my test, that's what I wanted to do.
Despite a busy schedule, Francine neatly combines driving and everyday work. But it takes more than a little imagination to see any similarity between driving a diesel pickup around Hull and tackling a tough rally stage. But she does try very hard indeed. When she's not rallying, she's swimming, or playing squash, or water skiing. Any fast-moving sport will do. But her nightly workouts now become essential. The rigours of rallying would be a real shock to those of us who only drive to work and back each day.
It's very demanding on your whole self. I always find that after a rally out I'm exhausted, although I feel like I've done absolutely nothing. And this helps you an awful lot, obviously, because I had a bit of an accident the other day on a rally and I had to run nearly a quarter of a mile and run back again, and it helps me an awful lot.
But it takes more than a few press-ups to compete with these boys on the Lombard RAC. Just to get her international licence, Francine's had to complete 5 national rallies, which meant finishing every event she's entered, at all costs.
It's gone very well. She's shown a lot of promise. She's finished all the events that we've competed in. The last one, it was a bit touch and go whether we were going to finish, but we managed to get the car back on its wheels and get towards the finish.
Well, it was the first stage of the border rally, I think it was a month or so back, and I was getting a little bit ambitious because I felt I was doing quite well on it, and there was a slight bend in the road coming towards the flying finish, and I felt I could grab a few more seconds if I didn't brake at all, and it just flicked the car slightly, and we actually went through the flying finish but up a bank and it just dropped onto its roof, so I got my time anyway, which is the most important.
Once she'd got her licence, she had only one chance to use it on an international rally before the Lombard, on the Audi Sport Rally, starting here in Telford. It was a big jump for Francine, but at scrutineering there were no nerves in evidence. While the scrutineers checked the car, her main concern seemed to be what she was going to wear.
I've got a new helmet as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's got bigger?
Yeah.
More room?
Yeah.
Okay, so who's in the car with you?
Early morning, and top drivers like Colin McRae were completing the first stage. Further back in the field, at number 63, Francine was ready for the off.
4, 3, 2, 1, go. 45, right.
With nearly as many stage miles to complete as in all her other rallies to date, this was a major test of physical and mental fitness. At first, things went smoothly. Although not as fast as the leading drivers, Francine made reasonable time and paced herself well.
Drive the right bit tight here. Down to a hairpin right, tight hairpin right. Second arrows. Okay, nice, novel white. Back you go, backwards. That's it. Take it steady. Then further, that's it, then straight through. Okay. Okay, slight left.
Unfazed by a mere spin, it was into the first service stop at Machynlleth and a chance for the mechanics to check the car over.
moments. We had a spin or two, but it's fairly well. It's a little bit rough, obviously, because I haven't done a bit for a while. I'm just getting back into it, really.
But back on the road again, she was unable to get properly back into it.
And 90 left here. 45 right. Caution over a crest.
Sadly, just as she was finding form, the Nova was definitely losing it. Now the problem was just making it to the next service stop, in the hope that the mechanics could find and solve the problem quickly, so that she could make up some lost time.
Well, we've got a bit of a misfire low down. It's not pulling at all. It's not even pulling in second. So we've got a little knocking on the suspension at that side as well, which is pretty bad because you're dragging over a lot. So we've got to sort it all out and it should be all right.
Francine, as ever, was calm and optimistic, and soon the Nova was sounding a lot sweeter. In the remaining stages, she did make up some time.
Right left.
From a field of 63, she finished second last,
Right.
but 29 cars didn't finish at all. And if she hadn't had car problems, she'd certainly have been placed higher. With the Lombard RAC now clearly in sight, Francine can approach it with some confidence.
I'm really looking forward to it. If this is a little taster of one day, I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
One bid, two bid.
Over the last 10 years, car auctions have found a new respectability, like a sort of used car stock exchange. Not only have they become the ultimate barometer for prices, but a source of many of the cars that end up in the dealer's showroom. There's no mystery to it. The motor trade simply gives them a good wash and brush up and whacks a bit more money on the screen. It's easy, honestly.
So,
Some car auctions can indeed be dumping grounds for the most appalling scrap ever to disgrace tarmac, but go to one of the bigger sites and you stand a very good chance of buying a perfectly respectable car that's as much as 40% less than you'd pay in a showroom. What you don't get at auctions are part exchanges, finance facilities, test drives or blow-dried salesmen. What you do get are bargain basement prices, like this 18 grand Porsche 911.
Or, if impressing the neighbours isn't your bag, then just $3,700 buys this J-plate Lada Samara. While the cynical eyes of the dealer can spot a good car at 200 yards, you'll have to be a shade more careful. Don't just go looking for any old motor, but have a specific model in mind and don't get distracted by all those cheap cars. Arrive with an hour or so in hand before the hurly-burly begins and you've got other buyers breathing down your neck.
Now, don't forget to carefully read the windscreen ticket. Not all auction companies use these, but the more open and helpful ones do. It can tell you vital information like is the mileage warranted, has the vehicle ever been a total loss, or has it been seriously damaged, and it can tell you whether it's with a warranty or not. Now, don't put too much store by the warranty because that only lasts an hour after the end of the sale and covers the major mechanical bits like the engine and gearbox and back axle. So if you get it home and you find your aerials broken off, that's just tough.
Nor should you be afraid to ask for the keys so you can crawl all over your prospect, just like the dealers do. You may not be able to move the car, but you can start it, so try the usual test for blue smoke from the exhaust.
This one seems okay. It's just got a light haze of blue smoke, which is permissible. Any more than that, and obviously it suggests engine problems. Next port of call is the glove box to see if we've got a service history. A full dealer service history can tell us a great deal, and we haven't got one here at all, just handbooks, which is a point against the car. Cars like this need to have a nice parade of rubber stamps in the service history. Next is the bodywork. Let's just take a quick tour, and on an E-Reg car like this, we're looking not so much for rust, but for accident damage. And before I've even so much as got out of the car, I've spotted some paint overspray here, which means that the front of the car's had an accident. If we look a bit closer, this bonnet is actually touching the wing, which means that this car's had a punch on the front. So we walk away.
You might reckon this G-plate 25,000-mile Peugeot 205 GTI is a snip at a smidgen under $6 grand.
But if we look very carefully, we can see that the bonnet is a very slightly different shade of paint from the front wing, which alerts my suspicions. Look even closer and I can just see white overspray on this indicator lens and this headlamp here, which means that the car's seen some action. So there's really no art or magic to it, it's just a question of beady-eyed observation.
Some cars you can virtually buy with your eyes shut, like these ex-rental Vauxhalls. Say ex-rental to most people, and there's a sharp intake of breath.